This is the Chefpreneur Podcast, where we inspire professional cooks to take on greater risk to build a personal chef business for themselves. Now, here's your host, Andres Hinojosa.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Chefpreneur Podcast. I'm your host, Andres Hinojosa. Thank you so much for tuning in again today. You know, I feel bad because we have taken a little bit of time off here with our podcast, and I apologize for that. There's been a lot of things that have been going on in my life personally. We've officially launched our Chefpreneur masterclass online, which has been very exciting. We also recently had our 5th baby girl. Her name is Rhea. Shout out to Rhea, my beautiful little angel and princess. And so there's just been a lot of things going on, but I am back here on the reins here of the podcast, and we're excited to bring you a fresh new episode today. Now, as usual, we're going to get started by basically answering one of all of your guys' questions. This question comes from Lamar here in the Facebook Chefpreneur Movement Facebook group. And they ask, what are some ways you can think that are effective marketing tips and ways to get new, potentially high-end and consistent clients? It's a great question, Lamar. Now, I want to first stipulate that to find any kind of client, you first want to know what you're about, what your brand is all about. That's the number one thing I teach, is you have to kind of know what niche you're going after, because if you don't, people aren't really going to resonate with what you're putting out there. And you don't want to just attract anybody. You want to attract people who are really looking for your specific services. The second thing I would do, Lamar, is once you kind of figure out what you're all, what you're all about, what your niche is, you're going to want to find other people that actually basically other people that are serving those clienteles already. So if you're looking for high-end clienteles, you might look at what types of services and other kind of companies and things like that they use, so you can start to maybe partner with those companies and get referrals of those clients, because basically those clients are already hanging out with them, and so you want to capitalize on going where the fish are hanging out in the pond, right? So you want to kind of wedge yourself in there with a partnership of maybe some other services that they potentially are using. So it might be, kind of high-end masseuses that maybe do like home massages. It could be realtors. It could be, financial advisors, things like that. Some of those higher-end clienteles are going to already have connections with those, basically with those kind of companies or other services. And then you're able to start to join with them and get some referrals and start to try to make a mutual benefit, kind of for each other. And I teach a lot about that in my free web class, as well as in the actual masterclass itself. We really dive in to go deeper into what we call our strategic partnerships, and it's a really, really fast way to get your first client. In fact, most of my students have found their first clients through strategic partnerships without having a website and with barely basically being legitimately set up, with their sole proprietorship and their DBA and their business license. And so I hope that helps, Lamar. We're here to answer your guys' questions. We love to hear your guys' questions and answer them on the podcast. If you do have a question, you're able to just go to the Chefpreneur Movement Facebook group, post a question in there. We always look for questions that we can use on the podcast, or you can email us directly at podcast@chefpreneurprogram.com. And we'd love to hear from you guys and continue to answer those questions. So without further ado, I want to just jump right into our subject today, into our topic today. And I've titled this podcast, The 3 Excuses That Are Getting in Your Way of Being Successful. Now, I'm probably going to step on some toes today. I'm probably going to make some people upset, but I want you to realize that it's coming from the bottom of my heart. It's because I really want to help as many as you as possible. And I noticed that there's a lot of excuses we make as human beings. And I was doing a Chefpreneur live on Facebook, or a Facebook Live per se, the other day. And basically, I was discussing some of these things already, but it's just been really in my heart to share this, because I think that so many of us, again, want to score that winning touchdown in our own life. We want to do and accomplish what we've set out to do, our dreams, our goals. Unfortunately, there's always a lot of things that are holding us back. And unfortunately, the only person who can fix those things are actually you. And so it really boils down to excuses that we make for us not accomplishing what we really want to accomplish. A lot of times I've asked many of you, and we've actually done surveys on this, where we asked, what is your number one reason of why you haven't started your business yet? And a lot of times you guys have been answering that it's fear. And fear is kind of a cop-out answer. I'm sorry to say that, because what are you afraid of, right? You have to get more specific than just fear. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hopefully dive into 3 excuses that I see that you guys have been making and that has been getting in the way of your success, and how I can hopefully help you overcome some of those excuses, aka possibly fears, and really start accomplishing what you want to accomplish in your life, okay? Number one thing, the number one excuse that I've seen and I've heard from many of you is that you don't have enough money. Now, I want to really dive into this even a little bit further than just having the physical money in your bank account. Now, I know what you guys are thinking. You're like, wait a minute, Chef, that doesn't make any sense. If I physically don't have the money, I don't have the money. Now, that is true. Okay, that is true. You do need a dollar amount to get started in a business. You also need a dollar amount to invest in yourself in whatever you're going to do. But I think that's where you guys go wrong, is you look at money as a cost. You look at something as a cost as opposed to an investment. Let me just be clear about this, okay? If you're wanting to lose weight, you're probably going to want to invest in eating healthier, right? You're going to invest in your body, which is then going to give you a return by you losing weight and probably living a longer and healthier life. Okay, so if you're buying, higher end ingredients, if you're not buying things that are super processed and tons of sugar that are usually cheaper than the whole foods that you can basically buy, that's going to be healthier, and you're basically making an investment in your body. If you're getting a gym membership, you're making an investment in your body. You can't look at it as a cost. This is the same thing with starting a personal chef business. A lot of you say, Chef, I don't have the money to start this. I'll be honest with you. A lot of people that say that, I'll look at their Facebook profiles, and I'm just being real with you. And I'm not trying to upset anybody here, but I know that I'm probably going to have, a few comments on this podcast, and that's fine, because I just really want to help you. So this is coming from the bottom of my heart. Number one is I see that many of you, as I click through your Facebook profiles and I do some, research, and I'm trying to, I'm befriending you guys on Facebook. I notice that a lot of you are posting pictures sometimes of brand new cars you're leasing, right? A brand new whatever, BMW or a brand new Toyota Camry or whatever it might be. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a person that doesn't have enough money to invest in a business for themselves, yet they have money to invest in something that's going to actually depreciate in value, and it's not even going to hold its weight in what you're paying for it every single month, right? That's just one example. Or sometimes we might be looking at our budget and we're spending so much money on clothes, and we're wearing these $300, $200 jumpsuits from Adidas or Nike or whatever, and you're saying you don't have enough money to start a business. You don't have enough money to invest in yourself. To be honest with you, it's kind of a crock. It's kind of an excuse, right? Because here's the thing. If you really wanted it bad enough, you would invest your money wisely into yourself. And what better person to invest than in yourself, right? Again, going even back to me right now, I know I'm trying to lose weight and I have to start investing in myself more, right? And so that doesn't just mean investing my time, which we'll talk about in a moment, but also the money and the resources I need to actually accomplish my goals, right? How do I lose 30 pounds by the end of the year, or at least 20 pounds by the end of the year? How do I actually make those things happen, right? Well, I'm going to, look for finding a fitness trainer to start helping me get me on basically the best track on how to lose weight, hold me accountable, so forth and so on. That's an investment. It's not a cost. It's an investment. And so a lot of us use the excuse that we don't have the money. And realistically, you can find the money. And we've talked about it in previous podcasts as well, about how this business doesn't even take a lot of money to get started. So to be honest with you, it's even more of an excuse, right? Because we're not talking about thousands of dollars. We're talking about hundreds of dollars. And realistically, if you want it bad enough, you'll find the money to get it done. Now, one of my Facebook Lives I just did, the one I was talking to you about, I was discussing that. I was discussing about how people who want it bad enough are actually going to accomplish what they want to accomplish. Because it's not the person with the most brains, it's not the person with the most wit, with the most smarts, with the biggest, education or most degrees that are usually successful. It's actually the person who wants it the most. And so again, a lot of this has to train down to, well, I can't, start this business because I have a full-time job. And Chef, if I quit my full-time job, I'm not going to have money to pay the rent. First of all, nobody's asking you to quit your job, okay? You can do this business on the side as part-time. So honestly, that's not even an excuse, right? So if you're barely making ends meet, how about you look at building this business out to even bring side income to you every month, that you're not just living paycheck to paycheck, that you can actually put some money away. In fact, one of my students has done only 3 events since they took my program, and they've garnered around $8,000 in sales. $8,000 in 3 events. Right? And I was discussing this with him the other day, and he's making close to, and I'm not going to disclose his name just for privacy, but I'll just say he's making roughly around, $4,200 or something like that, every single month from his job. And I'm thinking to myself, that 8,000 that you did in 3 events, that's basically what you make in 2 whole months at your current job. Yet, he's still afraid on saying, wait, am I going to set a realistic goal for me to go out on my own next year? And I told him, start saving that money, start putting that money aside that you're earning from the business to have that money as a cushion. So when you do leave your job, now you're fully entitled to basically, you're just 100% focused on your job, and you're fully entitled to actually, feel like you're not so stressed out and pressured that you won't be able to pay the bills, right? So listen, money is a big excuse, and that's probably the number one excuse I hear is I don't have the money to do this. And realistically, if you want it bad enough, you'll find the money, okay? Like, I'm not saying to get in debt or anything like that, but, again, probably 78% of the entire population, I think that's the stat I remember, has a credit card. There's different options that you can use. Again, I'm not really a big fan of debt, but I'm saying there's always a way that you can do it. But most of you go into debt just buying a car or buying something that you really don't even need. You need a car, but I'm saying you don't need a $400 or $500 a month payment for that car when you're making $13 an hour. Let's just be honest. And so most of you guys will actually spend money on things that don't give you a return on investment. That's what we use in any business, right? It's called ROI. It's return on investment, meaning if I invested $1, is it going to make me back $1, $2, $3, $4? If you invest something if you invest $1 in something that's going to pay you back $4, it's kind of a no-brainer, right? So you have to invest in yourself, and you have to be willing to take that money and invest it in yourself wisely, okay? Number 2, the second excuse I always hear is, I don't have enough experience, chef. I don't have enough experience. I don't have a culinary degree like you or like a lot of people. I don't have years and years of professional cooking experience to start this business. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's all great. And that's, I understand that we got to cook, good. We got to cook decently. Okay. We got to really serve clients into the best of our ability and cook some good food. I'd say most people that are really passionate about food can cook pretty good food. Now, you might not be cooking like a Michelin-starred chef or a 5-star chef, but I'm telling you what, there's a lot of cooks out there that actually cook better than some of the professionals or even some of the culinary graduates that I've worked with over the years. Now, I'm not saying, again, because I don't really believe so much that culinary school actually makes you a better cook or not, right? It gives you a lot more knowledge. It teaches you things. But realistically, the passion you have, the real world experience, if you're actually cooking every single day, those things really increase your level of aptitude when it comes to cooking, right? So the number 2 excuse I hear, like I said, is I don't have enough experience. Now, the same person I was just talking to you about that went through my masterclass, he's a semi-truck mechanic. Okay, here's what's crazy is he's never been to culinary school. He's never worked in a professional kitchen, and he's earned $8,000 in 3 events. Like, seriously, if I can't point it out to you, that you don't need a culinary degree and you don't need 30 years under your belt of cooking experience. And again, I'm probably going to offend some people on this podcast because I'm not taking anything away from the chefs that do have years. I mean, me personally, I have over 17 years in the culinary industry cooking as a chef, right? And so here's the thing. I have the experience in that sense, quote unquote. But here's the deal. My chef that I do have in my business, Chef Daniel Ferdouy, shout out to Daniel Ferdouy, he's an amazing guy, never went to culinary school. In fact, he started in Rome kind of as a barista and a bartender. And one day, basically, the restaurant owner was like, hey, I need somebody to help me cook. And he started helping him. And eventually he took off from there and he learned all by just being in different little trattorias and little cafes and different places like that, made his way to Chicago, happened to get a job under my ex-mentor, Chef Jason White. Chef, shout out to you as well. And now he's working with me. Now he's been working with me for 3 years in Dinner with a Chef, which is my personal chef business. And here's the thing. He's been able to earn a good amount of money and he doesn't have any quote unquote formal training, but he has a heart to serve, which we've talked about in another podcast, that realistically the cooking side, the food side, I hate to say it, is probably 25-30% of the entire experience. Yes, you want to give them a great food. Yes, you want to have it be on point, but the entire experience is what they're really paying for. If they wanted to just pay for just the food, they would order Uber Eats, right? It wouldn't be that complicated. This is what I'm trying to tell you. So if you feel like you don't have enough experience, but you have a dying passion for this industry, for wanting to be a personal chef, I'm going to tell you, quit hiding behind that excuse that you don't have the knowledge or experience to do it. Because I'm telling you, if you get some guidance, even from me, to be able to form you and shape you into understanding how to give an amazing experience, how to really give that level of service to create an amazing product for your clients, you're going to win every single time. In fact, you might even win more than the quote unquote professionals that have years and years of experience. Okay. So that was number 2 as an excuse, is that you think you don't have enough experience. And the third and final excuse that I've heard so many times is, Chef, I don't have the time. I don't have the time. Again, this kind of ties into everything, right? Because I can use the same excuse as well for wanting to get healthier and lose some weight, right? I don't have the time to exercise. In fact, this is something that I personally, I'll be very full disclosure, I've been hiding behind this for a long time with my health and me being overweight. I don't have enough time. I have now. Don't get me wrong, I got a lot on my plate. No offense, I got a lot more on my plate than a lot of you probably listening to this, and I'm not trying to say that in a mean way. Let's just do the facts, right? I'm running the Chefpreneur Movement, which is an entire program, an entire movement where I'm trying to help, as many chefs and cooks, basically start their own business and achieve their dreams. That's one thing that I work, and then I have my Dinner with a Chef personal chef business, which is going to do over $300,000 in revenue this year alone, and we broke $250,000 last year. And again, I'm not saying that to gloat or to be prideful. I'm saying that to just show you that I'm not running a small little tiny operation here. And basically I am running both of those organizations, as well as I'm a father to 5 daughters. Okay. So I have 5 children, and with my beautiful wife, Danielle. So here's the thing. I got a lot on my plate. I mean, I'm getting woken up by being kicked in the face and kids crying at 3:30 in the morning and kids crawling into our bed at 3:30 in the morning while the other one is crying, and it just doesn't stop. I mean, I have to almost sometimes record these podcasts at 1 in the morning, and I'm just being very honest and truthful with you. Sometimes I'm recording these podcasts at 1 or 2 in the morning in my office because it's the only time that there's actually some peace and quiet in the house. In fact, I'm recording this podcast right now in my living room on my laptop because all of my kids with my wife actually took off and went to go check out a really cool event today, and I got to go cook for a client tonight. So basically, all I'm saying is I got a lot on my plate, and I still would want to use the excuse that I don't have the time. And then I started realizing it's just nothing but an excuse. If I really want to put this as a priority in my life, if I want to get healthier for my kids, if I want to lose weight, I want to live a longer, healthier, fulfilling life, I have to lose weight. I have to get healthier in my physical body. And that's the thing, is I do focus a lot of energy on my businesses and the movement and everything else. But at the same time, what good is all that when I don't have any health, right? And so I would use that as my time. So realistically, some of you guys, you might be thinking, well, Chef, I work full time already. I have a family as well. I have this, I have that. Here's the thing. Here's the honest truth. If we really set a goal, we don't try to achieve things overnight. That's not what this is about. I'm not having expectations that I'm going to lose 20 pounds in 1 week, right? I have a goal that I'm setting out over the next 2-3 months. And if I start changing some of my habits and I start looking at like, hey, if I have time to look at some YouTube videos, if I have some time to do this, if I have time to watch a 30-minute show sitting down the couch, and I'm not saying anything about you decompressing and relaxing. That's not what I'm saying. But real honestly, if you have time to do some of these things, then you have time to build this business, because this business doesn't take very much time to build on the side. In fact, it probably takes more time than it does money, which was the first excuse we discussed. But to be honest with you, it doesn't even take that much time either. And you can build this business where in literally 3 to 6 months, you can have a fully functioning business and probably have already served 5 or 6 clients and had several events already, because this I know to be true in the personal chef business space. It doesn't take a lot to get started. And you can do this on, whether you're listening to the podcast as you're driving to work, and then you're writing ideas down, or, later on, or, you wake up in the morning, you take 20 minutes, before you really start your day, and you just wake up 20 minutes earlier. It's amazing what you can get done in 20 minutes for 5 days in a row. I mean, 5 days in a row in 20 minutes, that's 100 minutes, right? That's over an hour that you have. That's actually over an hour and a half, right? That you have, that you're working on your business. And trust me, as long as you take that time and basically, and again, invest your time wisely, there's probably things that you can cut out that you're spending time on that you don't need to be spending time on, right? And I'm not definitely talking about, cut time out of your family life or anything like that. Those things are vitally more important than anything else in life. But at the same time, there's probably a lot of things that you're doing with your time that you really shouldn't be doing with your time. And that's myself included. That's all of us. We're human beings, right? It's our nature to be wasteful in different ways, right? Whether it's with our time, again, with our money, with different resources that we have. And I just want to encourage you that these are excuses that are really getting in the way of you being successful in your personal chef business or starting a personal chef business. And again, these were the top 3 that I found. And there's a lot of other excuses that we can come up with, right? And the thing is that any excuse is really just some level of fear, right? That's reworded into an excuse. That's all it is, right? And some people are like, "Oh no, no, it's just I don't have the time to do it." But realistically, they might have all the time in the world. But again, they're going back to number 2 excuse. Maybe mentally, they don't think they can do it, right? They don't think they can accomplish it. They don't think they have enough experience to do it. Some of them are like, I already spend 70 hours a week at work. I'm a sous chef. You have no idea, chef. I do have an idea. I used to work 6-7 days a week. Sometimes I'd put in 12, 14-hour days. And my family was suffering for it. And my health is off track because of all those years I worked in the industry. And now I have a lot more freedom. Now I'm able to go do a Facebook Live, and walk through my beautiful neighborhood on a beautiful sunny day here in San Diego, where I'm huffing and puffing up and down mountains, or not mountains, okay, don't exaggerate it, but like hills, because it's very hilly where I live. And, again, I'm out there, I'm walking, I'm trying to lose weight, I'm trying to get some exercise. But to be honest with you, this would have never been able to be done when I worked in my, not necessarily literally a 9-to-5, but 9-to-5 meaning my job, just over broke job that I used to work at, right? And I used to actually get paid, to be honest, I actually used to get paid a pretty decent salary. But when you really narrowed it down to dividing my salary by the hours, it wasn't really getting paid a lot of money, right? And now I make more money. I have more freedom, right, to be able to focus on these things. And so it took an investment of my time, my finances, my resources, everything in my inner being to actually just combat all those excuses and say, you know what, I'm not going to allow anybody to stop me. I'm going to go for this. No matter what people think, no matter how I feel, I'm going to do it. Okay. And that's the thing that you guys have to tell yourself. No matter how you feel, you can accomplish it. You can get it done, but it's down to you. Nobody can move your hand for you. Nobody can do it for you. It has to come from you. Okay, so I hope this podcast resonated with somebody. I hope that it encouraged you today. Again, the title of this podcast was The 3 Excuses That Are Getting in Your Way of Being Successful. Okay, again, we're here to motivate, educate, and inspire chefs and cooks to take a stand for their personal freedom by breaking the chains of a kitchen job and building their own empire. We believe the future is yours and you could put it into your own hands. Hey, you know what? We just released the Chefpreneur Masterclass online. If you're wanting to actually go through and enroll in this program, it's going to honestly, it's a game changer. It's a complete program from start to finish. There's 10 modules and it takes you step by step in building your own personal chef business. And honestly, it's super, super valuable for what you get, but there's also a lot of great bonuses that go with it right now. And you can go to the chefpreneurprogram.com/masterclass -online. Okay, that's chefpreneurprogram.com/masterclass online. I apologize. If you go there, I want you guys to understand that you can enroll in the program today. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just search Chefpreneur there in your YouTube search bar, and you'll see Chefpreneur, and you can see all of our last podcast episodes as well that we upload to YouTube. So go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, find us on Facebook. Like I mentioned, the Chefpreneur Movement Facebook group. If you're not a member already, we'd love for it to have you and join the group. And you could just go to the Facebook, search in the Chefpreneur Movement. You'll see the group. There'll be a few questions to ask. Again, it's free to join the group, but just a couple questions questions so we can get to know you, and you'll be with other like-minded chefs and cooks that are wanting to start their own business. And there's a great resource from you as well to ask questions, get inspired, get motivated. So without further ado, I just appreciate you guys all for being patient with me, for putting out this podcast. And we're going to have we're getting back our into the swing of things with a podcast every Wednesday. We love you all guys very much. Thank you all for your support. I can't believe we've hit 10,000 podcast episodes already, downloads, I'm sorry. And we're really excited about that. So again, we thank you so much for supporting this podcast. We just love encouraging you guys every week. So take care. We'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Chefpreneur Podcast, where we want to educate, motivate, and inspire as many chefs to become their own boss. Please subscribe to the podcast and join us every week to be part of the movement. To sign up for our free online web class, visit thechefpreneurwebinar.com.